Dark. Splice. Stats.
Okay. Whew. Okay, stats comes out now. Starting off on a map like this, we do need to point out that there is a free base in the back. In the very, if you're blue, it's in the very, very top left. If you're red, it's the very bottom right. But it doesn't have as many minerals there. Oh, from Israel. We love you guys. Thanks for coming down.
Welcome.
So there's this free base in the back, but a lot of players will save it. They don't take it right away. It's only got 4 mineral patches instead of 8, which some of the other outer expansions have. But we've seen a lot of, I think, going back in my head, I think we've seen stats actually take that free base pretty quickly in a lot of the games.
Yeah.
He's very conservative.
It's safer. Like, you can just kind of take it and not worry because you're not going to die. So if he's in any sort of situation where he feels like his opponent might be able to kill him, that's going to be the base he takes. If not, then the other one is obviously much, much better. Time will tell how he wants to go about that.
Cheers, guys. Hope you're enjoying the games.
That's an excellent shirt.
Yeah, I think with these guys, it should go to Game 7. It should be pretty back and forth. So you have to keep in mind, just for the big picture, when these two play, Dark has some of the scariest end game of all time in StarCraft 2 and in all of RTS. He's very, very good. He's good at surviving. But in a lot of ways, Stats is very similar. Stats basically doesn't die to almost anything early on. Now, that is not to say that he does not have bad endgame, but I don't think his endgame stands out as much to most people as Dark's does. But I would imagine most of these games are going to be long and drawn out.
Okay, so I definitely do have something to say about that, because I kind of agree with you, where, like, his endgame isn't necessarily stand out. We don't think of him as an ultimate master of endgame as much, but the thing is he gets to endgame more than most, so he's actually better than most at it, but it's not... I don't think endgame is his superpower, defense is his superpower.
Yeah, the thing is that...
He reminds me of Nurture a lot in that respect.
People that try to kill Stats early on, it generally doesn't work, and then because you overextended economically or you attacked into him, he just has more stuff, and he plays a really clean game from there on out, and usually you can't get a base. Whereas Dark, if you give him all these crazy endgame units of Zerg, like Infestors, combo with Broodlords, all that, Vipers as well, he can make magic happen with that. So this is going to be fun with these two specifically, especially considering this is a best of 7. Now, stamina is another factor in the Super Tournament. These guys have been in the studio at least 3 out of the 4 days that we've had this going on. And of course, there's a lot of prep each day. We're like, okay, who's my opponent? All right, I have all evening and most of the morning to prepare. Then I come in. Yeah. If I win, I got to go back home, rinse and repeat. They obviously both won their semifinal matches, but those were exhausting best of 5s. They weren't as long as some of the best of 5s we've had, but a best of 5, no matter what, in competitive play is tiring. Now they have to pull through with a best of 7.
Now, taking a look at this game that we're in, that wall-in that Stats just made, I already find a kind of an interesting thing about this. That did not really do as well as I think he wanted. But the wall-in that Stats made is the most defensive wall-in that you can basically ever make. He's completely walled the front, so he can only get out through the side towards that third base. This kind of telegraphs how you're playing a little bit. Yeah. Like, for instance, think of Abyssal Reef, right, where it's one of these double entrance to your natural type deals. And it's like if you fully wall that front ramp, you don't have to worry about any harass there anymore, but it also kind of telegraphs that, like, well, you're going to be taking a third and a fourth and that type of thing, right? So I just want to throw that out there. Once again, Stats really showing who he is with his play.
Another attack in here. It's kind of funny to see how this is going down, because when you pick up the Fenix, it kind of covers up some of the drones. Whoa, you got to kill him, not just damage him. Okay, he takes out 2 more drones there. So 7 kills just in that last little skirmish we saw between those 2 bases.
Yeah, some very good harassment. Don't forget, he killed just countless drones against Solar. It was actually pretty crazy. Those Lings come up. He doesn't even have to worry about that because of the way his wall is. Oh.
Looks like he denied the trap there. Oh, this Oracle's taking too much damage.
Oops.
Bad grouping there.
Still, he gets 5 more kills. So not too bad. But Dark is just refilling his drones basically instantaneously here.
Yeah, in fact, they're even on workers, but Dark is about to pop back ahead as some of those drones pop out. Oh, excuse me, they already did pop out. So a few roaches are being made.
And stats, you know, it looks like he's getting right into his charge and his Templar archives. We don't see a Prism out yet, but he's just going to take another base. And that's, again, something that you can kind of tell here, especially considering his third was very quick and it was that back base.
That this, I think, it might be just a little bit too ambitious. He nearly lost even the third Oracle. In fact, that Oracle, okay, he's going to save it. I was going to say it's kind of stuck back there in that little area where he can't quite be reached. But he's down 2 Oracles. Now, it's important with the Oracle that you use them to try to, yeah, you know, why do Templars have an attack?
I know. It's because when everyone F2As their army, then the High Templars don't go way in front and die.
Yeah.
Not even joking. I'm 99% sure that's why they have an attack now.
So, the Oracles are important for tagging the big army as much as you can. If you can follow where their army is, Protoss can get in a good position and try to defend. Now, Stats is stretching out and taking a 4th base. Dark is slightly ahead in supply, but I would not say it's enough supply to have an army to punish Stats and push him back off of his 3rd base. So Dark may just try to macro up. He's continuing to get a lot of roaches, which actually tells me maybe he will attack because the roaches don't have a ton of equity later on.
Yeah, you would think he would have to.
But it does seem to me, just looking at this, that I think Stats can hold, but
yeah,
I'm happy to be proven wrong. Perhaps with enough Ravagers and good angling, he'll be okay.
Well, it was only 1 Robo, so that might have something to do with this, why he's decided to play like this. There's not that many Immortals at the moment. Well, 5 is still quite a few, to be fair. But he has Psystorm as well, so kind of hard. Wow, somehow that Pylon actually lives.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Nice storm there. I believe another Pylon's on the way. Problem is, whenever Dark tries to hold his ground, a storm showers down on these units, really softening them up, making it available easy for many of them to just be one-shotted by the Immortals after that. That Pylon has been remade, so the shield batteries are able to be used now.
Yeah, Stats has lost very little here, like a couple probes. He's used a lot of mana, but
he's not really mining minerals, but I think that's perfectly fine given the circumstance. As long as Stats doesn't lose his base, I think it's going to be okay. And I mean, is this base really going to be taken out here? It's mostly just shields that have been chipped away at.
Yeah, he's definitely never going to kill this base, I would say. Maybe he's just looking for lucky corrosive biles or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's hoping some of the army will eat the biles here. Problem is, you know, there's enough storms that basically every time Dark comes forward, Stats will storm it. He'll eventually be able to make Archons with these. And I feel like a really unfortunate attack there by Dark, who spent a lot of money on roaches, is only just now remaking his drones. I know that the supply, when you look at it for Dark, is scary, but again, it's mostly roaches and Ravagers. But what Stats is teching up to is way more sophisticated.
Yeah. But you know what? He's going now into a bit more tech. He made some Mutalisks, but there's already Phoenixes out, so it seems as if he's not going to make that many Mutalisks. But also going into a Baneling Nest, also going into Infestation Pit.
Right.
So he is definitely teching up. He's got decent creep spread. He's taking that gold base. So his economy is still very strong. And I mean, he has a big standing army, so Stats has had to play defensively. But other than that, the Roach Ravager wasn't really that impressive.
I'm wondering if Dark can actually hold this base that's close to the top center. It's a very easy push distance, considering that Stats is walled off the entrance towards his natural. So basically, Stats can only push up by going north a little bit and then looping around. I wonder if it would have been better for Dark to try to take these bottom left bases. Then again, maybe Dark's confident that he can expand towards the Protoss and still be okay, and actually try to push his creep forward and stop Stats from doing exactly what he's doing right now, trying to expand up and acquire more of the map.
Stats is actually doing a great job of just keeping expansions together here. But Hive is on the way. More Stargates coming up for Stats. Now, does Stats go into carriers from here, or does he make some Tempests? Because I think Tempest here is a good play. I like Tempest in this situation. Not like the thing is he's playing against mostly Roach Ravager, so obviously you look at that and you say, well, carriers would be nice, but when you already see Corruptors out like this, it's telegraphing pretty hard how this game is going.
Yeah.
And for me, I think really for any Protoss here, if you just get a small amount of Tempest, you're going to be feeling very fine against whatever comes.
Some damage here on the Nexus. Uncontested right now from Stats. Stats' Fenix is coming down. This is too much damage. He just gets this for free. Now, little plays like that, actually, I shouldn't even really call it little, but plays like that could start to add up.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to offset the gas income. It's kind of bad there for Stats. I mean, that was a very neat little victory for Dark.
Yeah. I like that quite a bit. A lot of Speed Banes actually rolling up right now. Archons will eat a lot of those.
Those were really good storms. Between the storms and then the Archon splash, well, most of those Banelings didn't do anything. Now, Dark is continuing to mass up a lot more Zerglings. We have the Greater Spire on the way.
Ooh, with that mothership out, it's getting a little bit scary here. Some Zealots actually being sent around to harass, but Baneling's going to go clean those up pretty easily. Still flying around with these Corruptors looking for damage. Finally, he's warped in some Stalkers to try to stop them.
Okay, Stats is trying to come in now.
Good Biles.
Yeah, some of those hitting that mothership right there. Seems like Stats is ready to commit. He's going to, I think, an attempt to, in one fell swoop, come in here, take out the gold, and then loop around, probably head down towards the main.
This army that Dark has had has just never really been all that dangerous. This composition is it's a little bit dated, but I guess it's not the most expensive thing. It definitely can stay relevant for a bit with all those Biles.
Dude, he's so good with these storms. It's kind of crazy.
It certainly is. The Immortal's really helping to clean up here as well.
Oh my God, he just did it. GG.
Dark.
He definitely does have his own style. Does like Roaches and Ravagers. Still slightly confused about that last game. Did like the Corruptor play, though.
Mm-hmm.
Splice. Stats.
Stats just kind of staying completely true to his style. Taking his bases with really good time. I like he took a very fast third in that back area, right? And then the fourth was pretty darn quick. And then as soon as he held that attack all the way, he's like, oh, fifth. Here we go. Fifth mothership. Let's do it.
These guys are going to have to deviate from their stereotypical play styles, especially in a best of 7. You need to have a variety of different builds. I mean, this is the whole reason why we don't let him play one game and then be like, okay, we know who's better. Because there's so many ways to open up. And it's overall, if you have better strategies, you know, generally speaking, then we give you the award, right? Yeah. You came out on top with that variety of styles.
By the way, a little side thing. I don't know if he ever actually scouted the Spire, but he did have Phoenixes, right? And I think that this kind of speaks to the intelligence of Stats in a way. And here's the thing, whether you saw this Spire or not, this is kind of like a thing that is a smart thing to do. Like, Stats can look at this situation and say, well, there's quite a few Roaches and some Ravagers in here, but there's no Hydras, there's no Pains.
Right.
And so that means, where is all of this gas? And again, that's an older composition, what Dark was trying to use there. And back when that was used a lot, definitely Mutas came into play quite often. So he was, you know, it was almost like he was covering his bases a little bit. Just, you get 4 Phoenixes, your opponent's not even going to make Mutas.
I think you're completely correct. Even if he doesn't scout it, it's sort of organic.
Yeah.
You know, you're clearly getting closer and closer to that win. What could he possibly do to mess me up? Well, if he does go for air, I might as well get all the other things I need to stop that. He gets that out, and he had the answer right away. Now, in this game, Stats has got a hidden Stargate down here in the bottom left.
Yeah, that's a funny proxy location.
Now, it's barely proxy. Dark's going to find it.
He's very good at finding things on the map, isn't he? But he's making quite a few lings. He might be getting aggressive himself. In fact, I know he is. Look how many lings he's making.
Nothing. There's nothing down here to defend that pylon, right?
No. Well, he doesn't. He's not even scouting for it. He just happens to find it. He was running around, so
that trying to
Stats,
avoid the adept.
Yeah, and Stats might not have finished his wall. You know, if this building wasn't here.
Okay, so this is a bit of a disaster right now for Stats.
Yeah, and if that hadn't been there, he was going to run in. And I don't think that Stats would have been able to stop that. There would have been a bunch of speedlings in his base. So he's actually in, like, yeah, his procs got found. I almost feel like he's lucky in a way, too.
Yeah, I think Dark looks at that and says, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you're going to make all these lings and try to run in there, you better. It would be ideal to at least stop the Stargate from being powered up here.
He has 20 lings right now. Normally you'll have 6-8 lings unless the Adepts are really forcing you.
It's a lot less drones that he has.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to go for something sneaky, but inadvertently bumped into the sneakiness of Stats.
Yeah. But there,
in this game.
He did kill a Stargate, so that's obviously a big deal as well. Stats gets no scouting at this point. Obviously no harass. His Oracle harass has been on point the entire tournament as well. But a Twilight, as well as a Robo on the way. Maybe some incoming Archon drops or maybe something crazy. You never know. Glaive all in, something like that. You know your opponent skipped quite a few drones. He isn't someone who's going to want to go into Roaches from here.
So the follow-up now from Stats. The fact that Stats came in here with a very specific plan, it's been completely interrupted. He has to now think on his feet against a player like Dark, who is, of course, very good at reacting. He always gets a proper read. You can even see now, okay, I have all these extra lings. Let me spread them out perfectly so that I can see anything that's going to leave while I start to, really produce and macro up.
The Templar Archive coming. Everything looking all right here for Stats, getting charged as well. He's actually added quite a few gates at this point. So this could turn into, I don't know if we want to call it exactly an
Zealot Archon push.
Well, yeah, certainly that. Does he make a Nexus during this? We see his probes are completely stopped.
One of the problems is that with this many lings on the ground, if he gets under that warp prism, you never get to warp in what you wanted.
That is true, yeah.
That being said, it doesn't seem like Dark is actually trying to chase that down. Okay. We're waiting. Here come the Templars to be turned into an Archon. The gateways are all going to finish up. He's going to pick a position. He's either going to try to push through or he's going to split up his army and hit two different locations, like warping in from one location while the Archons and Zealots are pushing into another. There's 7 Roaches on the way. Stats now taking his 3rd base. But let's go ahead and see how much damage this actually does and if he keeps the Warp Prism alive or not.
Yeah, I think it won't be too hard to keep that Prism alive. Kind of an interesting spine crawler there, very defensively placed. I mean, obviously it's a defensive building, but it's kind of like an anti-Zealot placement.
The way it's put, it's far out enough. You can never really quite get to it without committing into the rest of the Zerg's army. Drones there to block everything. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and if Zealots charge at something like that, like they start running around geysers and minerals and stuff, so it's nicely done. A lot of Roaches being made right now, and let's not forget there's no Immortals out, so he might be able to hit like a massive counterattack here.
Okay, Pylon taken out. Dark with some nice harass. Stats is getting so close to trying to push in, but I think he doesn't quite feel safe doing it. Now here comes the Archon drop in the main. He's trying to see how many Roaches are actually coming up here to defend. Is it worth it for me to get Zealots? So far, Dark's basically defending everything perfectly. You can see his supply is really starting to ramp up because he's going for Roaches, already at 135 with many more to come soon.
A ton of Zealots coming in over to the side here. Roach speed is going to be finishing shortly. So many Roaches being made. Backs up into this spine crawler area. He's got to be careful about that main base as well. Quite a few Zealots being warped in with the Archons.
You know, at the end of the day, Roaches are pretty good against Zealots. Dark is handling this pretty nicely. I mean, I don't see any real dent being made in the base of Dark at all. I mean, Dark is happy to lose Roaches as long as he keeps most of his drones alive.
And after all that harassment kind of failing, a second Robo going up. He's warped in some sentries at home, finally starting up probes production, but I do still feel like a counterattack is deadly here. 38 Roaches, 40 Roaches right now.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Dark, I would definitely go for the counter. We have, what, 1 Immortal here right now?
But it's got some sentry buddies with it.
It's got quite a bit of sentries with him. But yeah, I think if he just does a Roach Ravager timing, kind of like what we saw not work in Game 1, that this is going to be easy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, 360-degree attack here. Yeah. Stats is completely surrounded. That's going to be a GG. We're even up now, 1-1.
Dark. Splice. Stats.
Backwater, definitely a map that's going to give us some different games.
Yeah.
Very easy to take those 3 bases quite quickly here.
And
Common way to play.
This third base is different from the other third base we have on our other map, where it's not like it's very tempting to take it because it's generally first of all, it has enough minerals that it's fine. You're not sacrificing anything. It is somewhat more harassable though, unlike. I'm sorry, now the map name is escaping me. What was the first map we played on?
Neon
Violet Square. Thank you. On Neon Violet Square, it's tucked so far away that you pretty much can't harass it. You're much more likely to have success hitting the other 2 bases. On this one, you can take your third that's basically free, but it can be hit from the outside.
Yeah. Now this drone, it seems like it's going to be a proxy hatchery. He's been hiding there for quite some time. His build at home looks very normal.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay,
I love
now
it.
you know what, dude? This is some mind game stuff because he even said in the interview, for those of you guys that missed they're just now tuning in, Dark did basically the same strategy earlier. He said in the interview, well, I'm a little bit nervous because I've already showed some of my builds, so I don't know what to do. Ha! He's doing the exact same build.
Well,
the
not
mind
exact.
games are real.
The hatchery is his third hatchery.
That's true.
So
That's true. But it's the same idea.
From what the probe has seen, this all looks pretty normal. But the third hatchery should be going down pretty soon. The Adept will come over, and the Adept is generally what will confirm a third hatch. But by then, his hatchery over near Stats' base is going to be finishing up.
So it's a variation where, but again, the hatchery this close to where Stats is.
This looks completely normal.
Yeah, it's masked very well. And it may be too late when Stats actually figures out what's going on. Now note, every time the Adept is checking other locations, for instance, trying to take out spotterling, stuff like that, God, it's just out of his vision. Look at that. He has not confirmed it yet. The hatchery's done.
Okay,
the Adept goes, ruh-roh.
Nothing there.
Where?
Check the other location. Now he knows something is up. Notice the Adept rallied to home now. He's going to send 2 Adepts up. He's making a Void Ray. Okay, see? He's starting to feel it out.
Damn, he's got a very good read.
Yep.
The Adepts are going to come in here now. Link's pretty well placed. He cancels a shade. He's getting a spore.
Yep.
Okay,
Spore,
so
Queen Ravager.
the creep has shown up, so Stats 100% can confirm what's happening now. Now the question is it too late? We have a Ravager being made just outside of this location.
Okay, so this, obviously it's a little bit different from what we saw before. It's a little bit later. But Stats has seen this type of thing twice. Classic just straight died to it. He couldn't figure out what was going on. Zest held on for like 10 minutes against this in his natural. And I'm sure that Stats watched that and thought about that afterwards. Here he is. He's making a lot of shield batteries. He's spreading them out. Crosabile's going to have a harder time getting things done. He has made a full wall for now. And actually he's making oracles as opposed to void rays.
This is
somewhere
really
that
cool.
Zest went differently.
Okay, so he's hitting the cybernetics core.
He needs to
Trying
heal
to
that
take this away.
cybernetics core. Heal it, heal
Oh
it,
my
heal
God,
it.
it's so low. Okay,
Heal
warp
it.
gets done.
Okay.
Warp gets done, thank God.
Yeah, as long as that finishes. It's like if you don't... The amount I see people not heal buildings with the shield batteries kills me.
Okay, he's taking out, or he will take out this first gateway. Note every roach that takes damage, he just turns into a Ravager. Mm-hmm. The Lings are still back here, ready to take on these Adepts. Good catch here by Dark.
True
Crossing
patience.
his T's and dotting his I's here. Corrosive Biles, he has infinity of these. He can keep just artillerying down this position. The gateway's going to go down. Now we're getting closer and closer to that Nexus. And if that Nexus goes down, he will have cut Protoss in half. And there's not much Protoss can do.
If he gets the Nexus, it feels like it's game over.
Yep.
Double Oracle flying across the map right now. If there's no Spore, he can get a ton of damage. I think a Spore is actually being made.
Now, with these Oracles, you're totally right, Artosis. If he can actually take out a ton of drones, that would be huge. But that's money he invested that is not going to defend this location, which means that Dark should have more momentum as he gets closer and closer to this Nexus location. The Oracles are getting very close. We're going to get a shot of it in just a second here.
Dude, there's so many transfusions on these
Oh,
queens.
my God. Oh, okay.
That is actually
He's
a great stasis.
stunned some of the Ravagers. He's buying a little bit of time. Oh, let me go. Biles coming down, chipping away at the battery. Anything to get him closer. He's now waiting. Oh, my God, he's so patient.
Like
Third Oracle.
Dude, this dancing Ravager is killing me, man. I feel like I'm watching Kingsman
He's like,
2
I'm
right
stunned,
now.
but I'm not. Here we go.
Okay, flies in with three Oracles.
Nothing to transfuse, and I see.
Yeah, he can kill this economy. I think he has to go up his ramp, though. There's no way he's holding this area, that's for sure.
So Dark pulls the trigger. He's diving in. Biles are coming down, and there's nowhere for these Stalkers to run. They're eating Bile shots. Back at home. Let's get a shot of it, please.
Oh.
What? Okay, so there's literally no workers in this game for Zerg.
Okay,
he
just recalled his units to that Nexus, didn't he? Is that what we just saw?
It must have been.
Oh, my God. If he just recalled his units that were at the Nexus to the Nexus, that's painful. So I think he lost basically everything here.
Okay, these pylons very low. He guns us down, less warp-ins.
Okay, these queens have a lot of transfusion
Zerg
energy.
has to make this work with what he's got right now. Protoss is on 21 workers. He's mining. He's in good shape. Gateway's unpowered. I believe that's what? Is that one more gateway in the main? How many gates are in the main right now?
I don't know how many gates. I think it's just one more, but he has a robo.
He stopped Protoss from mining. Zerg has transfusions available.
There are a few drones that did get made, so the economy of Dark is slowly but surely coming back.
He's looking for an opening. Dark right now doing a great job zoning with these vials. It's really uncomfortable for stats here. Now, if he gets the Nexus, that could also be checkmate. But you can see Dark doesn't want to overextend with these vials. He's happy to just have these Ravagers and Queens slowly chip away at the Nexus.
And he's gaining mana on the Queens. Like, you've got to go eventually here, and he's going for it.
Transfusion's coming down. The probe's coming in. It seems like Dark actually just has too much. And the Queens and the Ravagers are going to win this fight. Wow. Still one Immortal in the back. But if I'm seeing this correctly, there should be no way. He needs to get rid of that Immortal. It's stressing me out.
Oh.
Hold on a second. No.
Wait, how much money does Stats have? He has 0 minerals.
Yeah. So
like,
he can't make anything else.
Even if he were to kill all of these, there's drones at home, so he's actually able to make more units. Stats can't make a probe. He'd have to win with this Stalker.
Yeah, one Stalker coming back. So look at this.
Come here and chase me.
We're like watching a MOBA fight right now with their abilities being shot out. Oh, my God.
Wow, it's such a skill game.
GG. Dark takes game 2. That was crazy. That came down. A probe immediately sent out.
Yeah, the timing on that probe
Dark.
is to block the hatchery. You notice he sent 2 probes down. That's because to get there in time, to block the standard hatch timing, you have to send a different probe to make the pylon. If you wait for the pylon, you're not going to make it.
So a couple things we can glean from that. First of all, Dark wants stats to be forced with a pool opening. And possibly wants to force Dark to make a hatchery somewhere that's in a less desirable location.
That's, I think that's what he's looking for, but look at Dark. He's sending a drone around.
Oh,
he might
man.
aggressively hatch. He might just hatch in the natural here to slow down his expansion. He says, you do it to me, I do it to you. An eye for an eye.
Look, okay, he's making the Big Dipper with his waypoints, and then he's going to throw a hatch down here.
Oh, my God.
Boom.
I love it. I love it. They both
I thought
block
these
each
things were
other's
made for
expands.
expanding. I didn't understand. Guys, okay, it's 2018. We figured out the hatchery is not actually for expanding.
No.
Okay. We're all going to be laughing about that. Remember when people were expanding with hatcheries? It's like they were like cavemen back then.
It's a base. You build your base over there and then kill them.
The hatchery is so that you can make them not get a fast expand up as easily. To make attacking units closer to them.
You know what would be great?
Exploded.
Is if there was another hatchery over in the 3rd base location so you could
That's
do
right.
the Ravager push again. That's all I want. I just want to watch that push all day.
Okay, so Stats is running around dropping pylons to stop the expansion hatchery from being planted. Now, it seems like this is just enough damage that Stats has calculated that there's no way the hatchery finishes. So the Nexus will go down. Right?
Yeah, just a second, it will. The drone actually ran around to the third base and then went back to make it natural. I think that's a great choice by Dark not to make the hatchery far away. That's what Stats is looking for, especially in a situation like this where you already have seen a couple Zealots pop out. If you have that hatchery far away, Queens aren't going to get there in time. Your opponent's going to be able to pressure you. So
he's keeping this drone alive here because ideally the Adept does want to shade across the map and start pushing out, but this drone can run away from the Zealot forever. So he finally cleans that out. Stargate to complete the wall in.
All right. Game might normalize from here. We shall see. Speed is about to finish here for Dark. He is double expanding. Not mining too much more gas at the moment. Could turn on that aggression at any point because it is a relatively quick speed. But a little bit hard to do it here. You know, it's already a full wall in. If you do it, it has to be something crazy.
So the benefits of putting that hatch down there and slowing that down, I'm curious to see how this is all going to pan out. Because both these guys are not the kind of players where they're locked into their build orders, and if it's thrown off, they can't win.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys who are very good at thinking on their feet.
Yeah, they're very reactive players.
Sure, yeah.
Fenix going to come out right away here. The Fenix, I feel like the Fenix in some ways is more scary than the Oracle because when they get the Fenix, it denies your scouting like immediately, and you don't know what that follow-up is going to be. You know, like sometimes people just go for the quick Phoenix and just go Oracle after and play a macro game. Sometimes they go for that quick Phoenix and bam, there's charge lots in your base before the first Overlord's even dead. Well, not that fast, but very fast.
So that Overlord's taken out now. Stats has something build-wise, we're about to see it because Dark is, no pun intended, he's in the dark now. He can't see what the tech is. So it's going to be a Robo Bay just out of the edge of that wall in. Oracle headed northbound now to see if he can't get any drone kills.
Nice little move here, pushing back those links. Every little thing counts. +1 melee on the way very, very, very quickly.
Okay.
That's normally for pushing stopping pushes, but if you have a decent amount of lings, you can force a cancel on a third base pretty easily with that too. So,
okay, so he sends the Phoenix in there to pick up the Queens. Only 2 kills there, and actually I think he's going to lose this Oracle.
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
Is he going to make another Oracle, or is he just stop with the tech on that? Templar Archives and a Warp Prism Artosis.
Yeah, okay, so Archon drops coming up, but there's a Baneling Nest on the way. And his +1 melee is still on the way.
That's right. He's making more lings, too.
I mean, he could try some sort of Baneling bust. I don't think there's really any chance for Stats to get a third base up.
Well, keep in mind that the way that Dark interrupted the normal course of the build, maybe he has this down perfectly, where a timing attack like this, which maybe would not normally work against Stats if he was able to follow the proper build pattern. A play like this can actually interrupt him. Now, is he going to make a Nexus here? Now, this is exactly what Dark would want.
Yeah, that's not units, and he's making a lot of Zerglings right now. By the way, once again, a Spine Crawler. Dark adding a lot of defense into these builds. So there's a ton of lings out on the map right now. Of course, if these lings don't really do too much, there's going to be Archons and a Prism around very shortly, and that's super good against lings. Look at this, the +1 attack cutting around these Zealots. They're going to be able to kill them so quickly.
This is a lot of gateway units being eaten up here on the map. Archon's being morphed, though. Stats is going to commit with his aggression. Stats is trying to sandbag up over here to stop lings from busting inside of his base. Banelings are being morphed. Archon's now headed up towards the very top. There is a 4th base being taken, although Stats has not spotted that just yet. Archon's hitting the Queens. Queens orbiting around this hatchery to try to get away. Warp Prism taking damage. Stats has to back off.
That Spine doing actually a lot of work there as well. Just putting the damage onto those Archons a little bit quicker.
Oh, this is kind of funny. He needs to get this pylon out of the way so he can get these Zealots back here.
Oh,
Banelings are coming forward.
That was the wrong time to do that.
Yep, that was the worst time to try to open that up. The Lings surround the Immortals. The Banelings going for the probes. Probes splitting up everywhere. Banelings not going off when I thought they would.
Nope.
The harass is continuing, but it looks like Dark has really driven this back.
8 probes falling down right now.
Oh
Another
my
mortal
God, this is a massacre. The Immortal is out, but I don't think that Dark is going to care about that.
No.
The Archons are back home, hoping to help defend. We've had 25 workers massacred over on Stats' side of the map. meaning Dark has double the worker count of his opponent. More Banelings being morphed up here as this other Immortal goes down as well.
Jeez.
Stats' base is in shambles. Oh my god, I think he's going to miss that Baneling.
Yeah, he might. He's chasing
There's
around
just
these
enough
limbs so
going on.
heavily.
Wait, Shine, go to the Baneling.
Yeah, but it's only got +1, so it doesn't kill anything. See?
But it struck fear into the hearts of those probes,
Yeah,
Artosis.
those probes are
the morale
so red.
is down. Okay, Stats has no other choice but to try to push.
Into roaches and a spine and
That's right.
queens and lings with +1.
Oh gosh, even getting the cybernetics core.
Oh, my.
Another big blow here. Okay, pylons barely get up in time, but of course the Zerglings can still surround that one Zealot and continue to chip away ahead, which means Warpin, some of that is going to have to be devoted to trying to stay back. GG!
I'll be a light unit, Tasteless, but I'm a psionic unit. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll take that.
Dark.
Leading 3-1 right now. Match point for the rest of the series. Has
see
to
if
lose
we have
3 in
any,
a row not to be champ.
Any more hatchery shenanigans coming out here from Dark? There's so much room for Dark to experiment here.
Plus. Stats.
Cheers in the audience on both sides. Both these guys very popular players. Once again, Stats sent a probe out.
There's a drone out there too, though. What's this drone up to?
You're right. Over in the center left. Is he just going to keep doing this?
Yeah, why not?
Dark's like, listen, I'm done with late game. I already mastered that.
It's just a... What is it, actually? I'm not-
Well, okay, he's at about 150 minerals.
Yeah. It's not quite there yet.
See what constellation shape he makes with the waypoints here. Now, the probe is here, so in theory, he can stop the hatchery from ever being made if that's what he wanted to do. And with 2 probes here, eventually the damage is going to pan out to where this drone can't keep blocking this.
Do eventually stop it. Stop it, he does. Going up into that main base, maybe he'll steal the gas. No, Stat's not going to let that happen.
I'd be pretty uncomfortable, though, if Dark sent this drone at me.
Yeah.
You know, after the losses that Stats already had, I'd be like, okay, what is he doing now? What's up?
Got to go make a hatch so he can push spores up to this. This would be one of the worst maps to do it, I think, because you have that raised natural.
You don't normally see Zergs doing this, but
No, it's
yeah,
pretty
you
rare.
can harass the the expansion. You see he's right-clicking on the minerals, making the probe stop mining for a second. It's these little things that can allow you to really slow your opponent down.
I feel like this drone is like the thug that stands outside your shop.
Yeah.
Right? Like Stats is over near Dark, and Dark is like kind of threatening him with this.
He's like, that's a cool expansion to be terrible if something happened to it.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you want to take something from me? I'll take something from you.
Yeah. It's going to be hard playing StarCraft if your thumbs are broken. Like, well, I mean, it'd be hard. It'd probably be better if you use my index finger, but yeah. So,
It'd be hard to move the mouse. I mean, it would hurt some, but yeah, you don't click with your thumb that much.
yeah.
Like, you use it some on the keyboard, though you're well,
Ooh.
some people's left thumb. Oh my god, it's like the Reaper at the third base.
A pylon planted here is going to slow Dark down from getting his third. And there are Adepts moving out on the map. The Lings need to destroy this pylon before the Adepts get there, and they do. And so that third hatchery is going to come down. But Adepts are going to... Nope, they're going to turn around, excuse me. And now we have the Oracle coming up here for Stats.
Is Stats playing a little bit afraid with these Adepts coming home and all? I mean, I know that Dark is a pretty aggressive Zerg overall, but...
I think he is playing a little bit afraid, but you can't really blame him. I mean, he's down 1-3. This is a best of 7. Dark just has to win one more game. And Stats is not getting to play the games he wants to play. By the way, these are games where Stats is getting shut down before late game, which is not what we're used to seeing with Stats.
You see him scouting with this Oracle?
Yeah, he's looking for everything.
Dude, yeah, he's off
He's
of his
scared.
game at the moment. He thinks that Dark is pulling something funny, but this is maybe the most normal Dark has
But
played
what's
so far.
funny about it is the fact that there was that drone in there. I think
Yeah.
that threw Stats off a little bit. It looked weird.
It was there until over 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That is a long time for a drone to be alive in a Protoss space.
It's not something Protosses normally deal with. Now, of course, when you have a drone like that, that's one drone that's not mining, but sometimes you want to...
for it, though, I would say that time.
Sure, yeah, it did enough, but, in theory, normally people have
Yeah.
workers back at home as much as possible, but, you could throw off somebody like Stats. I mean, only at the highest level of StarCraft can you have mind games that get so advanced that if you did this to a basic player, I mean, it wouldn't even change what they're doing because they don't even understand why you're doing what they're doing. They're following a much more basic pattern.
Yeah.
Warp Prism coming up. 3 more gates as well as the Templar Archives.
Roachhorn timed out quite well here. He's getting his layer as well. Same old move from Stats, only gets a couple kills. Takes some hull damage on both units, though. Getting a reasonably quick Evolution Chamber here, too. He's been getting +1 ranged rather quickly with his Roaches.
Dark's continuing to drone up now. Although I think we're going to see a lot more Roaches in just a little bit. Stats is feeling safe, decides to take the 3rd Nexus now. I think he is honestly pretty safe. I don't see any reason to not do that.
Yeah. Goes down his Forge. Kind of filling in the rest of what he needs here, tech-wise. He's got to get that +1 on the way. Is Prism going to fly out here and do some light harassment, I think? I'm not sure what he'll be able to get done with the Archons this game because the Roaches are going to be out once again. But generally, he finds some damage.
Okay, Archon's now done. The harass will commence. Immortals are going to be incremented out behind this. You just want to get as many free shots off of whatever you can here. As long as you don't lose the Archons, I mean, they're just going to take damage on shields. That will always come back.
I like what he's doing with the Fenix coming in and stuff there, too.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
We got a couple Overlords, lost a ton of shields for all that, but not too bad, I guess. Dark still, though, not getting supply block. Continuing to drone, continuing to roach up as well.
And you just continue to fly around with this Warp Prism. Try to get some free kills. There's a push eventually that's going to happen. You're getting more gates. You're getting more Immortals. Immortals with Archons combo together. Zealots in the front to soak up damage. It's a scary thing. Now, Dark has experienced this hundreds of times before in practice. And you know, he has to lose the bare minimum. I mean, it's not ideal, but I guess it is really fine to lose the Creep Tumors if you're not hemorrhaging Zerglings and losing Overlords.
Yeah. I love that he just kind of falls back into this, too. Like, all the defense has been a little bit too good. Can't find anything else to do. Well, why not? Pick off some Creep Tumors.
Now, this is something he has to try to defend. He dives forward with the Roaches, but immediately Stats picks up and backs off. Fenix orbiting around here, trying to find, in some sense, scouting to see, is there anywhere else we can actually harass? Warp Prism coming up now. Now, this is actually pretty bad because this Warp Prism's taking enough damage that it can be softened up before the actual big push.
Do you know what I think we're going to see here? His Infestation Pit's finishing up. I think we're going to see Swarm Hosts. It's not that common right now, but it definitely can be used with this type of composition against the type of play he's against. Oh, no, he just goes straight into Hive. But, you know, when you're playing against Charge Lot, Archon, Immortal, you can try to use Storm Host. I'm sad we don't get to see that here.
It would have been cool if he gave it a shot. The Spire is immediately started. Now, Storm is almost done. I would imagine that Stats is just going to stay back here, continue to macro up a little bit. Dark definitely has enough Roaches. I think it's going to be tough for any push from Stats here to work. Well, I spoke too soon. Stats is going to try to go for it.
But how many Immortals does he have? Okay, he actually has 4 right there.
He's got 4,
so
which is a very
solid,
good number. Yeah. He's going to have enough Storms available. I think he can blanket this area and then start morphing those into Archons. It's paramount that Stats keeps this Warp Prism alive. If the Warp Prism dies off due to Corrosive Vials, which basically counter what the Warp Prism can do, then the rush usually stops. Zerg can just keep producing, and eventually they hold off the attack. Now, a couple Roaches are going to dive in. Ooh, that was sick! He managed to pick some of them up inside the Warp Prism. But honestly, Dark is fighting back. And Stats is once again going to have to back off. So Stats instead decides to try to move up to the top. This is probably an easier angle to try to hit, but it's also an angle where Corrosive Vials could, if used correctly, zone out a lot of these other attacks. He separated the Templars. I think he's going to try to hit with the Templars from the high ground. Tagging the units like this allows you to track its movement in such a way where maybe you can get the good setup with your Immortals and have good Storms paired with the Archons and everything else.
This is kind of crazy because, like, right now, Dark is playing with fire a little bit. His army definitely loses to the army of Stats, but he has rushed up. This is, like, the quickest Greater Spire you're ever going to see. Like, if he gets Greater Spire out, if he actually gets a few Broods out, this army will die very easily. Broodlord's so good against all of these units.
By the way, pretty huge counterattack here, hitting this Nexus. Now the 2 Immortals come down here along with the Zealots, so he should be able to clean this up. The Nexus will live.
But he's just trying to buy time, I think.
Yeah, well, exactly. He's just trying to get up to this key moment. The Dark is chasing his opponent away pretty easily here. And if this really goes to show you, by the way, how much Roaches just counter Zealots.
Yeah. You get up to that critical mass, it's pretty wild. 8 Corruptors on the way, so we're definitely going to have those Broods popping out. 2 more Stargates and the Fleet Beacon coming out. I think finally we will see some Tempest this game. Can't wait for Carriers to try to counter something like this.
Okay, Stats has a safe 4th base up. This is going to be a lot of extra gas he has coming his way. So, Dark is trying to look for some kind of an opening. Now, there's enough Immortals that it seems to me like these Roaches are just going to bounce off of whatever location they try to hit.
Yeah.
But again, it's a matter of buying time. It doesn't really matter if these attacks aren't doing that much. It's keeping Stats back at home.
Okay, Carriers actually just got started here, and he's scouting that. He needs to hit an immediate push with these Broodlords. If he hits immediately, there's really no anti-Broodlord tech here. Once the Carriers get out, they can kind of deal with it because there's no anti-air for Zerg. If this was like a Hydra-based comp, then even the Carriers would have a hard time because the Interceptors would die. But like, I feel like there is a little window here where Dark can move in and kill at least 1 base.
Okay. War Prism once again coming in. Very important. You actually, if you watch closely, Stats has a little bit of extra supply all the time, so he can always do these warp-ins. He doesn't just want to max out at home.
Oh, he drew Dark back.
Yeah.
Dark was starting to move out onto the map, but now that he's kind of hemming and hawing, he didn't make a beeline for the bases with his Broodlords.
This may have bought Stats enough time.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
You have to remember, guys, the Broodlords are slow. They're really clunky. They're scary, but they don't get anywhere that fast. So you can see the Broodlords in this case for Stats coming towards him, and this gives time. for Stats to come up with a plan. Now the Warp Prism's out of the picture, which means counter warp-ins are not really viable. Because of that, Stats spends the rest of his supply warping and Archons.
Now the Carriers are out. They're starting to build up their Interceptor count. There are some Corruptors to help keep them at bay a bit. Of course, they've got to stay away from those Archons and Psystorms. Still, he's hitting this 4th base location.
Okay, here comes the big push. Stats has to try to hold this. A lot of Broodlords here, and with the Corrosive Biles, some of these actually been connecting on top of the Archons. The Storms, though, very effective. Corruptors trying to come in. They might be eating too many Archon shots.
Yeah, they're taking a huge amount of damage between Storms and Archons. So many Psystorms blanketing everything here. All he's got to do is clear out these Broodlords, and Stats should be good to go.
So Dark is having to return back home. But a lot of these Broodlords are going to be picked off. They don't attack into anything fast. They certainly don't run away quickly either.
Yeah, coming back with these Biles. I like the Biles kind of zoning things out, making him dance just a little bit. It's harder for him to chase down all the units of Dark. So that didn't go as well as it could have from Dark. And the big reason for that is the warping in the main base by Stats. Dark hemmed and hawed. He turned around a little bit. He didn't hit that 4th base quite quick enough to kill it before Carriers were truly out.
Dark needs to find another opening. Now, Stats has grown to be big enough that it's scary no matter who the Zerg player is. You get a Protoss on this many bases.
Yeah.
There are still expansions that Dark can try to squeeze out, but we're getting to that supreme late game. The part where there's so many locations to try to juggle. It's not easy for anybody.
I like the split up here of Stats, though. A couple shield batteries, a couple cannons, and some Immortals that are no longer really needed in his main army because it's become more of an air army. But that protects him against these counterattacks. And the thing is, once all the Roaches are gone, he can utilize the Immortals however he wants because there's not likely to be many more made.
There's also rising tension here in the bottom right. Dark and Stats both growing towards that direction, which means we could hit the climax in that quadrant of the map.
Yeah, you're probably right about that one. Second Spire coming up. More air upgrades. Tons of Spore Crawlers coming up as well. More gateways being added here for Stats.
Stats slowly edging forward. Dark looking for any kind of opening. Now this is kind of a tricky spot to try to attack into, right? It's just Ravagers against... oh, hold up. Big attack here, and Dark is going to give up the spot. He's not even going to try to fight it.
I think it's a solid call. You do not want to just rush in and fight against that air army. You got to be ready with absolutely everything.
There's 9 more Corruptors hatching right now. Does he have enough, though? This is a lot of carriers. Wow, beautiful storms. Look at that.
Yeah, storms all over those roaches. They fall very, very quickly. The Spore is trying to help out, but there's only like 3 Corruptors in here.
Yeah, I think that's the beginning of the end here.
Yeah.
Stats is just tearing through. Some of these carriers go down, but, I mean, gosh, are these Spores really going to hold this all off?
Well, they're killing enough Interceptors that he feels like he has to pull back for a moment.
No,
yeah.
He taps out. GG. Stats.
Dark.
Still on match point here.
Crazy.
Doesn't want to go to that final map, that's for sure.
Splice. Stats.
Sent a very quick probe out and directly to the gold base. He does not want to play against the gold base here. And I think that that's not a bad choice for him to immediately go down there and kind of make sure that doesn't happen, especially based on the Neon Violet Square game against Solar yesterday, where like Solar took the gold base and then Stats killed like 60 drones and then still almost died to Lingbane Ravager. Yeah. Like he held it and he won, but like it was closer than it really should have been, and he really shouldn't have gotten that many drones, and maybe if he didn't, he dies. So I kind of like that he fills in that little possible hole in his own play by just being like, let's just not play gold bases. No gold bases, no backsies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of those things.
Well, for now, he's just fast expanding. Stats is getting that cybernetic score. We've seen a lot of Stargate openings from Stats. I mean, obviously, Stargate's always pretty safe, but especially with him, he just doesn't seem to really want to toy with other builds.
Anything else it's inherently risky, you know? If you don't have the Stargate does so much. It heads off, like, all sorts of early aggressions. It gives you the scouting intel you need. It gives you harassment potential.
Also, there's so many forks in the build. Like, when you see a Stargate, you don't definitively know,
you don't know anything.
Where the later part of the game is. You know he's going to be making Stargate units, but that's not a lot. And, of course, you can still monitor to the Zerg. You can kill workers with oracles. If you got a Fenix, you could drive away overlords. You could trap workers, or you can even just keep tagging them. So, I mean, it develops well. Now, here's the gold base being taken here. Stats, of course, is never going to be okay with the Zerg taking the gold, but maybe with the timing of this gold, there's something that he can do as a direct response to it that he could not have done had that been the very first new hatchery that was made.
Yeah.
Like the second base taken as the gold.
Sure. The Adept scouting a little bit here. Looks like that Adept wants to check if the gold's been taken. So Stats is so hyper-aware of this. And he sees it. So that's definitely very good intel, but does he commit into trying to deal damage to it? Does he just continue to harass? Does he just treat it as a regular third base?
We're also watching and waiting to see if there's going to be any huge gateway explosion. With the Phoenix coming out, the Overlord will be killed. And that's where, sometimes we see a normal game and the Zerg overreacts. Other times we see a bunch of gateways made and the Zerg not respecting the lack of intel that he has, ends up getting punished.
Well, he's getting an additional couple of gases. I wonder if he'll go into Archon plus charge. I wouldn't be too surprised about that. He throws down the Robo for the time being. Of course, you always have to be a little bit careful if your opponent is kind of faking building their economy. Need that Robo. But the bases are pretty far apart, right? So this does give him some potential if he wants to get aggressive here early on. And if he goes into if he goes into something like Archon charge, you can like really pretend you're going to hit the gold base, and if they come down to defend that, go ahead and hit the main. There's also those rocks that you can be knocking down, so it just kind of gives a good amount of options.
There is a degree of repetition as far as play style here from Stats. He always likes to send this Phoenix and Oracle in there. If there's a Queen to interfere, he picks it up, and then the Oracle almost always gets 2 kills. And we have some more gates coming down now.
Yeah.
It's nothing too dramatic. Link's coming up.
There's that Templar Archives.
Mm-hmm.
Prism is on the way. Unable to find any real damage as of yet. So this is just 4 gates right now. See if he adds more. He'll have to add them pretty soon if you want. But he didn't get charged, right? So it's kind of looking like he'll take a third into Archon Harass.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, again, a much more modest game coming from Stats. I don't think he wants to risk trying to end it. He probably is actually just more confident that if he can survive all the early game potential shenanigans that Dark will throw at him, Stats will eventually just crush him.
So a Baneling Nest on the way, a bunch of Lings, and that +1 melee once again. 4th base coming up for Dark, 3rd for Stats.
Continuing to make more and more Zerglings. And now morphing Banelings, and that was such a great spotting there.
That Observer was super duper clutch.
MVP Observer. Now he's going to send that Oracle over there for sure and start killing this off. Okay, this is going great.
He actually canceled for the Banes. He canceled for the Banes there. He's just calling off the attack altogether. And that's like okay for Dark.
I respect that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like we saw before where the Twilight Council didn't do anything for Stats. He's like, oh, no, never mind. You saw it. But yeah, he's going into the Roachhorn. He's got to hold off this Archon Harass, so he's on only Zergling tech right now, so the Archon Harass can do awesomely.
Ooh. Saves that Queen. Archon's now going to drop over here by the gold. He wants to kill off as many of these drones and Lings as he can. But this means that Dark goes back. Dark says, I think I see an opening here. Let me try to hit this 4th base. And this is like Stats is watching. Big kills there. Dark with a surround. The Nexus is completely exposed. You can see even stop moving that Warp Prism. He's scrambling so badly to try to come over here and save this base.
Turn it on!
Oh my God, it doesn't matter. There's no way you can save it now. Goodbye, Nexus. The Lings run out. And it's a 4-base Zerg to a 2-base Protoss. Stats is in hot water right now.
Yeah, he is in a lot of trouble. It feels like he should be going for a counterattack, and that's probably very predictable. He lays down a Nexus.
Stats will be playing from a deficit for some time. He has to hope that he can do enough damage with these Archons that it will somehow make up, but I mean, that's really hard to do. Those Lings are, of course, all still available. If he can get any other pickoffs, that's going to be huge. More Archons and Immortals are going to be pumped out. Zealot Leg's almost finished. Maybe if he gets the 3rd base secured, he can try to do some kind of a push and attack in here.
Well, right now, Dark is switching back into drones. He's going to drone up his 4th base really well. And then I think from there, it's just like Roach, Ling, Bane. And that's and obviously some Ravager.
Dude, he needs to save these Immortals.
Yeah.
He will not survive an attack later on if these Immortals are gone.
Oh, boy.
Wow, 2 kills.
Dude, that +1 doing heavy lifting this game.
Okay, well, Stats is going to try to push. Now imagine had those 2 Immortals not been killed off.
Yeah, it's such a scarier push. What a catch there by Dark.
He's coming forward now. Dark tries to set up a defensive position. The game's not over yet, though. If he can breach this area, Stats may be able to win this game when we go to the final match. But so many Lings and Banes coming down. 1 Immortal, 5 Archons being juggled. But eventually there's no more Zealots here, and they're just eating damage. The attack has to be pushed back. Oh my God, nearly losing that Immortal.
And the macro here now from Dark should not be stoppable, really. He's got 4 bases, one of which is the gold. He hasn't lost that many drones. Baneling speed is about to finish. Roach speed is going to be shortly thereafter. He has so many units. Like, you are going to have the storms of your lifetime as Stats to hold on from here.
Dark just catches breath for a second, is going to macro up and produce a few more attacking units. And then I don't see what would stop him from simply attacking the 3rd base and then rolling over Stats. And I think seeing those Banelings being made right there, right now, is an indicator that, he is going to be doing that attack very soon.
Maybe seal up some of these rocks and whatnot. Doesn't really want to worry about those at the moment. The Archon's still getting a lot of work done. There's not a lot of anti-air, so this Prism kind of has free reign.
The problem is, Archons are really the only thing that Stats has going for him.
Yeah.
All those Zealots picked off earlier on is not... He needs more meat to his army. You need enough units there that you can be taking damage, and the Archons in the back are still kind of dealing it. Now, ambitiously, Stats is taking the gold base, just adjacent to his main. But we know that an attack from Dark is an inevitability. Dark is getting very close to maxing out.
Yeah.
He's got a very clean tech tree. His army's well upgraded. And it's diverse enough that he can kind of handle anything that Stats has when a head-to-head fight goes down, especially as the Baneling numbers grow.
Yeah, he, like, for Stats to hold on against what's coming, I think what he needs is like a retreating engagement. Everything running towards him off of creep and kind of falling back, dropping Psystorms, because as soon as these units start to connect, the amount that he can actually have, Dark can have, if he actually starts to fully produce, is really scary. But we see Dark is still kind of droning, getting upgrades. He's throwing in smatterings of units, but he could have maxed out already a while back.
Now, because Dark has been passive, which I don't think is a bad idea, it has left an opening where it seems like the gold base should be secure enough that it's going to be all right. A nice surround there, driving out some of those Archons.
And he actually eats a lot of Banelings there.
Whoa, that was not efficient.
No.
Okay, you know what else is not efficient?
He's scouting with that.
That Immortal's there. Like, this was just a dare.
Truth or dare. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, dare.
I dare you to walk to the edge of dark space. He's like, oh, okay.
Go figure out if he has a hive. He's like, oh, no.
Well, he's still got some Immortals back home. Dark is about to just burn through gas here with more Banes.
I'm kind of surprised that Dark never actually attacked. Like, he definitely had opportunities to do so during this game, but I guess he's playing a little bit more safe, wants to get further ahead in a way.
He wants to just close this out
Yeah.
and get an absolute definite win. He knows what happens if you let Stats get out of hand. Small skirmishes coming up. A few Banelings. Notice how he split them out so you can't optimize Storm with them very effectively. And now Dark's going to push into this location. Now the gold base is still there, but can he take on a wave that's this big, especially with Lynx hitting from both sides?
Yeah, there are units on both sides, but Stats has actually split his army really, really well. By the way, he had recalled that prism with the Archons in it that we saw before that was kind of stuck, and it's over on the other side of the map. He's moving it now, so he's going to get some harassment done while Dark's attacks aren't doing much. Stats is going carriers behind this.
Yeah, you know, if Stats hangs on,
I'm so impressed
if he really braces for impact, I think he's going to be okay. But Dark has such an insane amount of explosive damage that one or two bad fights for Stats, and he's going to lose these bases. And you cannot support carriers if you don't have all these bases constantly being mined from.
Man, the Archons continue to just be complete heroes of this game. Dark still not able to really get anything done with any of these Ling Bane attacks. I tell you, once he killed that third base, it really felt like Dark was going to be able to take this game home, but now that carriers are being made, I mean, Dark's on Hive, but what does he have for Hive units? Nothing, really.
Now, every bad engage that Zerg has were these Banelings. Like, we saw one earlier where I think it was like 8 Banelings went up on 4 Zealots. That's not cost-effective at all. Every time he has a bad engage, assuming that he has a few more, that's gas that just disappeared. It's not like the Archons that are flying around, killing stuff, regenning their shields, and then rinse and repeat. They're just gone. So if Zerg is clumsy at all about how they handle the late game, then really that gas did not go to anything, and they end up having spent inefficiently. Now, there are so many Banelings here, I can't imagine that Dark doesn't have a good engage with this next attack, but these small little attacks with Zealots like we see here in some of these Archons, it is drawing Dark back. We see this blue line going right then left and right then left, and he's finally returning. Stats is actually going to get the hatch there. This is really good right now for Stats. Now, again, Dark is going to eventually have this big attack, and he has to hang on. But Stats managed to catch up in supply. He's maxed out.
Yeah, Stats is taking another base here as well. As long as he's hitting Psystorms pretty well, I mean, this feels like it's Stats' game to lose at this point, which is so weird because I swear to God, Dark was way ahead.
I was on the same page as you. I was so confident that Dark was going to close this out.
He had 4 bases, Baneling speed finishing, one of which was a gold. He hadn't taken that much damage, and he killed the third of Stats. So and here we are, and Stats has, like, everything.
Stats is expoing to the middle, but there's a lot of Lings that could do a counterattack. Jesus, he's got a lot of Archons there.
Yeah, Ling Bane will never break that.
Yeah. Ever. Okay, Stats confidently pushes out. Now, you're going to be fine as a Protoss player if the Immortals are eating Baneling heads.
Yes.
And you know what? This is kind of cool. He can kind of push in between this little wedge area. It's kind of hard for Dark to engage this. And when you consider that this hatchery is going to go down, that's one less base. Oh my God,
what?
He just gave up. Whoa.
Okay.
But I love it when we actually go to match 7.
It's so crazy.
Statistically,
it's so epic.
it doesn't happen very often, so it's cool we're this far.
Dark.
Super Tournament always gives us these sick finals, too.
Splice. Stats.
It's what the people wanted, Artosis. Game 7.
People always get what they want. Even when it's not good for them, Tassadar. The scouting from stats coming out rather quickly. It's a big, big map. As you can see, they are even cross-spawned, so very far away from each other. This could be a crazy epic one.
I'll take it.
I'd love to see it.
Won't
but
resist it.
yeah, so far these late games have mostly been, Dark still running around with Roach Ravager, having a hard time really getting an Air Force up. And Stats killing him before he can.
If Dark is going to go for anything aggressive, it better be a Nidus for him because this travel distance is crazy.
Yeah, that's
on this
a
map.
fact. That's a fact. But because it is so long, sometimes you see players play a bit more greedily. So we did
Sure.
see one cheesy Ling Bane all-in on this map that won recently. I'm trying to remember who did that, but...
Yeah, it might sound counterintuitive because you're thinking, but wait, you just said they were far apart. Why would anybody do that?
Yeah.
Well, because nobody does it, sometimes it ends up becoming good because people just discount it as a possibility.
Yeah, because it's like so bad.
Sometimes playing in a slightly inefficient way as far as theory goes can throw off a good player who's trying to basically eliminate options from you.
Yeah, you have to make guesses. You can't know everything in this game.
It's a game of incomplete information, so any lie or anything that doesn't quite seem to add up, so they don't factor it in, sometimes can work. Roach Warren.
Oh. That's a very quick Roach Warren. Let's see what he does.
Seems
with
like
this.
it maybe could even be, dare I say, counterintuitive on a map like this. Third base?
That's such a quick Roach Warren.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to figure out what is going on with this Roach Warren right now. Like, he could just be saying, well, I'm not going to die to charge lot all in, thank you very much. It's one of those brutally powerful all-ins. That's not what's happening, though, and Oracle's going to be coming across.
But even then, that's so early to get that.
It's so
Charge lot all
early.
in is not that fast.
No, it's not.
He's already making roaches.
Wouldn't be here yet.
Can I get a 4?
I mean, you...
No, Tassadar, you can get 2 lings, though. Okay, fine. All right, I get a 4, too.
They can't just be defensive. These have to be roaches for attacking.
Now, wait. The Roach Warren's... I'm sorry, where's the Roach Warren
In the main.
placed?
He
He sees it!
Yeah, yeah. Big deal right there. He's actually getting quite a few drones, too. 3 drones. And a scout on the Roach Warren, and at least 1 ling.
Now, keep in mind, those are 2 adepts that are not going to be there to defend. The Oracle is out now, but how do you use the Oracle? And he looks like he wants to send it back. He thought about it. He says, I need to hold off this attack.
Yeah, look at the size of this wall right now. He's like, I am not getting cheesed out. But Dark is droning behind this. He got scouted, so he's thrown the strategy away for the most part. Like, he's still sending units across the map, but he's not going to do much. His stats, he's built a lot of extra buildings. He made a Void Ray, which it's not the biggest deal, but it's more expensive than the Fenix. It takes longer than the Fenix. So he'll be completely safe, of course, but, Dark is, he's just trying to recover behind this.
So the layer's coming, and this is some pretty advanced stuff. To ditch the aggression like this, but know that you've thrown Protoss off a little bit on their build. Now, Stats has to get some value now with this Void Ray, so he's going to try to find some Overlords, anything that he can use to clean up parts of the map here. Oracle going south. It looks like he wants to try to come behind this third base and maybe kill some workers.
See how much he can get done here. Double Queen and a Spore. Not very much.
The positions that Dark is mining from, mineral-wise, are very intelligent.
Yeah.
It's harder for these Oracles to actually come up here and get any kills, but impressively, he does take out 5, but at the cost of 1 Oracle.
As long as he keeps one alive so he can still scout pretty well. The Void Ray running around the map, kind of scouting, kind of doing a light harass as well.
It appears as though we're going into the Archon harass again here.
Yeah. There's already a Roach worn out and Roach speed on the way, so he has the right tools to try to hold on against this. And this is a massive 2-base attack, it looks like, from stats. Like, he's going to make a Nexus, but look how many gates he's making. Charge is coming up. He already has a lot of Zealots.
Okay, the third Nexus has been planted. It was spotted by Dark. The Void Ray is going to come out. And this is going to be pretty easy to chase away. But you can't blame Stats for trying. I mean, he has that unit. You got to try to get some value out of it.
Sure.
We have the 2 Archons now morphing.
Quite a few Roaches being made. 4 Queens in this 3rd base location, which is where he's headed right now. Again, the map is so large, it would take him a while to swing around to another side. Ooh, great scout right there.
He needs to see the angle that's coming at. The Void Ray was there to try to make sure Zerg wouldn't push out too far if he came from the south up to the north to look for that. But that link coming in there was very good. Another Archon is going to be morphed.
Yeah, and Spine's even being made, though, here. Oh, my God. Is he going to knock this down?
And denied.
Okay, makes him walk around a little bit.
Buying just a few more seconds. Might be all he needs.
Void Ray actually going to help out quite a bit against the Roaches, but he does have a lot of Queens coming from the side.
Keep in mind, if he guns down the Warp Prism, that also stops the rush.
Yeah. Okay, drops out those Zealots, warping quite a few here. The Void Ray being targeted down pretty quickly. The Spines buy him quite a bit of time. Dark flanking right now with a ton of Roaches,
the Warp Prism is scrambling to try to get into a better position. He's pulled this army pretty effectively apart. The Zealots, the 2 Archons, and some of this Protoss army on the right are not able to all merge up together to help each other out. But now he's looped back around. He's starting to push Dark away from his 3rd. Dark has to keep this 3rd alive.
Yeah, it's very important indeed. He has a lot of speed Roaches here.
Are you seeing this? He picks up right before the Roaches can fire while that Oracle is still doing damage. But eventually it runs out of energy. The Roaches know 3 Archons can't all be picked up by this Warp Prism. Stats desperately trying to juggle this.
Yeah, the juggling is really fantastic. But they're getting low on health here. He picks up 1, he picks up 2.
He's got to save this hatch. A warp in from behind. The Zealots dive in.
Oh, trying to actually block some of those Roaches
Did he actually get the Archon? He did, right?
Did he get the last Archon?
I think he actually did.
You might be right on that.
So it's just Zealots. He needs to get this Warp Prism over there.
You're right.
The Queen goes down. It's Zealots versus Roaches, but the Roaches are not at a great angle.
Behind the Stats is droning. He actually has a decent amount of probes. 55 right now. He's making Immortals. Wow, look at that. At the end of the day, Dark holds.
So it wasn't really an all-in from Stats. He's still producing.
It was highly aggressive, though. His economy is not full yet. Well, I guess now it is, but during the beginning of it, he was not making as many probes. Dark taking another base. Again, these guys are far apart from each other, so for Stats to walk back across the map and do another attack, it's a tall order. Likewise, a counterattack would be pretty difficult here. Bro and bro movement. You don't see that very often in this matchup.
Yeah, an unorthodox approach here from Dark. So Stats is back home, reassembling his economy. Dark, feeling safe for the first time in a little bit, is also droning up pretty heavily. This Warp Prism is still a nuisance, but it seems like Dark overall is just ready for it. He just follows the Warp Prism to be underneath it, so if anything pops out, he kills it. And now the next push is coming here from Stats.
Okay, he's going to have to use that Warp Prism to warp in more units over here. It's just such a long rally.
He's also taking Stats, I should say, taking a 4th base. That's pretty big.
Huh.
Now he's bringing Templars out, but Storm is nowhere near done.
You know
so
what?
those need to be Archons, or he needs to turn around.
I need to point out, there is an Oracle, but he has no reason to truly expect Burrow movement. So once Burrow and Burrow movement finish here, you might be able to like pop under, harass some bases. There's always the possibility of getting under High Templars that are a bit behind or in front of the army or whatever and unburrowing there. Burrow just finished. Burrow movement's about to, so he doesn't know yet.
Storm is about halfway done. Dark is setting a small ambush of Roaches. Of course, he won't be able to defend against the big attack here from Stats. They're both about to take some heavy damage here.
There's just no detection anywhere. Look at this move.
Oh, man.
Oh, a single cannon over here, actually. This attack gonna hit the 4th base of Dark. It looks like it should be able to kill that base pretty easily.
Okay, he's coming down now. Now these Immortals are at a pretty good angle. Storm is just finished up.
A nice tag on those Roaches as well. He realizes Burrow movement is out. A lot of Warpins at home to deal with the harassment.
Thing is, overall, it's 3-base Zerg versus a 4-base Protoss. I mean, this other base is going to get up. Now, Dark is killing a lot of probes. It's 59 drones to 48 probes, but I still feel like the muscle coming out of Stats' army is the thing that Dark has to deal with first and foremost.
Well, Roaches aren't supposed to beat this army that we see, but hey, you do things like pick off an Archon here and there. You force a bunch of Warpins back at Stats' home base, and you definitely have a chance. But look at this, Stats with solid upgrades. Still just Roaches being made here by Dark.
Great storms. Roaches can't afford to keep eating storms like that. No. Stats' army is becoming more and more sophisticated, where Dark's is in some sense just staying more and more basic. I mean, the Roach Bros is fine, but I feel like that loses a lot of its momentum after you introduce it.
Yeah, like your first move with it can be very strong.
Yeah.
And he killed a lot of probes with it, we saw when he first showed it, but now it's kind of been dealt with.
Okay, Dark runs up here, and it looks like he should be able to take out this hatchery. I don't see Stats even making an effort to try to stop it. Instead, Stats is going to start edging in here from the bottom.
Yeah, Great Bile's kind of dealing damage / zoning out everything here. The Roach is chewing through these Zealots very quickly. The Archons are actually very low.
Yeah, very, very low. 3 Archons. Oh my God, 1 Bile actually just takes out that last Archon.
Let's not forget how much health they actually heal while burrowed here. So every time he's eating a storm, he burrows, and a few seconds later, he's regained most of that health.
But Stats is going to try to come in here again. Some Roaches coming in for the counterattack, but so many Zealots, Archons, and Templars paired with the Immortals. Oh my God, another great storm. Again, he can heal up, as Artanis said. But is he going to be able to heal up in time?
The amount of Immortals here is just overwhelming. Stats continuing to push forward. Bro movement Roaches in the main base trying to keep Stats busy, but look at that. 7 Immortals up front.
He's getting those Ravagers now. Now Dark has expanded to the bottom right in the closest base that he has to him, where Stats is not marching around.
These endless tags, by the way, really making it hard for Dark to really make anything happen. Finally going to clear out these Roaches, it looks like, in his own main base. A very tense Game 7 right now.
Stats is itching to try to get in here. Every time Dark runs forward, a storm goes down, damaging those Roaches, but Dark responds by sending him back, burrowing him, and letting him heal up. That healing's going to go down a lot faster than the energy gaining from these Templars.
Splits off more Roaches, sends them up towards Stats once again. Stats is trying to retake his 4th base. Don't forget, this is pretty low economy. They're both staying on somewhat low tech. Ooh, a Spire being added. If that finishes, there's almost nothing here that hits air.
He lost another Archon.
Yeah.
And if we see mass mutas, the Archons are the easiest way to just directly zone out mutas.
Yeah, especially in this type of situation. You have a few Archons in there, the mutas can't really engage.
Once again, that counterattack's coming. Now the Spire's a long way from being done.
Look at this. Every volley these Immortals take, they're just picking off Roaches. This is a crazy micro battle on both sides. Both players using so many tactics against each other. Psystorm again on those Roaches. The Immortals leading the charge. Lots of damage dealt, lots of Roaches
killed. The Observer.
Oh, that's huge.
The Observer got shot out of the sky there.
That's a big moment there. Going to go ahead and heal underground once again. 24 more Roaches on the way. The Immortals being so cost efficient. But the production here is crazy.
Okay, he's reloading these Archons. Again, it's 4 base to 4 base. The Nexus just now finishes there for Stats, so he should be sending probes over there soon. Okay, he's going to go for it when these Immortals get down here. In fact, I think he's going for it right now.
7 Immortals on the way, but 3 Archons were just morphed. So, I mean, 7 Mutas on the way, rather, sorry. I mean, does he just fly in here and try to get the Prism, I guess? He probably can just pick that right off. He's going to try to target Archons, no doubt.
Well, if he gets the Prism, that's going to buy him time, but I'm worried that this many... This is just Roach Ravager, man.
Yeah.
This army's too complicated. I think Stats may have done it.
Yeah, the Immortals are just so efficient. Every time they shoot, you have a ton of units dying.
The Mutas just now came out. There still should be some storms available.
Yeah, and with those Archons in there as well, he's got +2 attack on him, massive damage against Mutalisks. These Immortals are almost just too much. You can't do anything. The drone's starting to get pulled here as well. Muta's trying to deal their damage.
Oh my god, is Dark going to actually hang on? These Roaches have to beat these Immortals. I think there's just too many Immortals. Another Archon bites the dust.
Oh, he's starting to pick off quite a few units. The Queen's coming forward. A lot of them actually get feedbacked. More and more Roaches coming forward right
We're
now.
actually watching Roach Ravager end up beating Archon Immortal. Like, Dark is a god.
I don't even
But
know
can
what we're watching
he,
here.
Can he actually keep it up, though? He's pushing him back. More Zealots are spilling in. Is the Roach army too thin? Yes, it is. And in the very end, Stats actually does it. He pulls through and wins 4-3. What a crazy final bout that was.